Welcome to another. Oh, there's the camera. Welcome to another session of Over the Bar. Today we got Dieter and Juliana Kreutzkamp.
Yes.
Correct.
All right.
German pronunciation is
From Germany, yes.
almost perfect.
This couple has been traveling the world since 1969, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So how I'd like to start this out is give us a little bit of your background before you started, and let us, because so many people are going to go, well, how can they afford to do this, right? So you can just give us that little bit of background first, and then we can carry on.
Yeah, Dieter had the idea, and then we both saved all our money we could get, and then we started.
It's not the idea alone. It was a dream, and I had this dream since I was a little boy. I wanted to go in the world. I wanted to be a sailor, and Daddy said, no, I don't allow this. Then I said, I want to be a missionary, because missionaries also go into the world.
That's it.
I studied first law, worked for the government, and there was still this dream, this boy's dream in me. And 1969, we two married, and since then we are traveling the world
1969 you were
Yes.
married.
Yes,
1969.
55 years this year.
55 years. Wow.
Yes.
That is awesome. And traveling together for a whole 55 years.
Yes.
Wow.
In German we say durch dick und dünn, which means through
All
dirt and mud and every
and
bad
sunshine.
and sunshine as well. You know, yeah, enjoy the sunshine as well.
Okay. So you saved, how many years did you save for before you went on this trip?
About 5-6 years. Yes.
5-6 years?
Yeah.
And you were both professional people in Germany.
Yeah, Juliana was a kindergarten teacher, kindergarten supervisor before we left, and we tested
Ourselves.
ourselves and our relationship even after we have been married. And the first really bigger trip brought us 1970 into northern Sahara, and we were greenhorns, totally greenhorns. Of course, we had our summer vacation, and we said, let's go in summer in Sahara Desert, 40 degrees. This was a new experience.
Sahara Desert.
Sahara Desert. So northern
In the
part,
summertime.
In the summertime.
This was your first trip.
It was, yes. After a trip across Switzerland and Austria and Germany, the first big trip. Yeah, but we survived.
Out of Europe.
Out of Europe. And how long did you spend in the Sahara Desert for?
No, just this was a total trip, a little bit crazy because we have been employed. Took us altogether 5 weeks about. I think about 5 weeks. It was a test because in the same year, 1970, we bought a legendary, powerful, I would say,
32
instead
horsepower.
of a
34.
Dodge Ram, we bought a T1 Volkswagen bus. We call this bus Bully, and we traveled with him around the world with
this
34 horsepower.
But this particular bus we called Methusalem because he was already old when we bought him.
Now, is this the red and white one?
Red
Yes.
and white one. It's
Yes.
called.
See if you can find that picture. It's under, I think it says van.
Yes, it's the Bully Methusalem, and Methusalem.
This one here?
Yes.
This is correct.
That
This is
him.
the red and white Methusalem, 1200 how you say
CC?
in English? CC.
CC.
CC in English, and 34 horsepower. But he brought us around the world. And the great thing, most of the cars, are wrecks nowadays, and you don't get any money for that. But if you are lucky enough to have a T1, you could sell it easily in Germany, in Europe, I would say worldwide for 100,000, 150,000 Canadian or US dollars or euros. It depends on the car. It's one of the icon of the cars, Ikone der Autos, wie wir sagen, as we say.
So whereabouts did you guys go then after your first trip into the Sahara? Where did you start? Like, from what I understand, you went for 8 years straight?
No, first we went to India.
We tested us. We tested us. And
1972. We went to India.
India.
And back. That was 4.5 months.
Yeah.
So, and then we found out, okay, the car and us, we
This
together.
was a hippie time, and a time to start and to test yourself. There were possibilities, and I always say, we were all influenced by the hippies of the Haight Street in San Francisco, but some people lived a hippie life and some just went away. There were lots of people going on the hippie trail. They called it the hippie trail from Europe to India. And we did it the first time with this T1 VW bus, 1972. We had saved up holidays and we got extra unpaid holidays. So we had 4.5 months going to India,
and
I
back.
would say to Nepal, and
Goa.
and Goa as well.
But without hashish.
We were. I
Without
don't
what?
mind having it
Hashish.
Hashish.
Hashish. Hashish at that time.
at that time.
was
Very popular
popular.
grass.
Oh, weed, like marijuana, hashish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hashish. Okay.
Okay.
That
You
was
did, went with or without?
No,
No, not us.
Okay.
No, never.
Oh, so you weren't the hippies smoking the weed?
Yeah, it was a time when most of them were hippies smoking weed or grass, pot or whatever.
Yeah.
But wasn't our thing. I don't mind having cold beer like tonight.
Yeah.
And but we wanted the adventure, and it was a time of everything. It was in the air. I would say it was in the air. And many young people from Europe, from all over the world, for example, the same year, 1972, a young man called, his name is Tony Wheeler. Most of them in the world know his name because he is the founder. When he got with empty pockets after his trip to India, 1972, came back to Australia, he started Lonely Planet Guide. You have probably heard. It was the same year. So many people tried new things and they came back and they said, wow, this was the beginning and not the end. And this was in our case because we tested our car, we tested ourselves, and we tested our dreams, and the dreams got even bigger. And we said, let's start a world trip. So between 1972 and 1975, 3 years, we saved up every dime, every Pfennig, we
Pfennig
say,
oder Groschen.
Deutschmark at that time in Germany. Now we have the euro. And we thought maybe we have enough money for 3 years because this was not...
Couldn't look it up in any book or any
Wikipedia or internet
When you
time.
say look up what it might
Yeah, but
cost
how
you to do
much
it?
would it cost? Nobody
Gotcha.
could tell us.
Get information. How much would it cost to travel across Australia, across Africa? So we had the dream. My goal was when we started in Germany, in Northern Europe, in North Germany, my goal is I'm
Alaska.
aiming for Alaska. Was a boy's dream. I wanted to go to Alaska. How to get to Alaska? From Germany, going down to South Africa, to Cape Town, ship the car over to Australia, drive around Australia, ship the car over to South America, and go up the Panamericana to Alaska. So far, the dreams. And we thought this would take 3 years and our money would last. We quit our jobs both and we started. April 26, 1975. I never forget this date.
April 6, 1975, you left Germany on a trip to go to Alaska by way of South America.
And Africa first.
And
Africa,
Africa with-
Australia.
3,000 euros?
No. We had some more euros.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
I was going to say, that's pretty wishful thinking to get around the world with that.
No. No, this is not. This is definitely not possible. We know, this trip we planned for 3 years because no one could know, and there was no blueprint. We would say
Right.
another person we knew, we read about, had done a trip like this. Sure, there were other people, but we didn't have the information, and so we did it step by step. We said, we will do it in 3 years. What we didn't know in April 1975, it took us 8 years and we changed the plans 100 times, even more. But it was great because to be spontaneous, you know, to not to say what I thought yesterday is bullshit, do new things, but we learned every day. And for example, we went down from Europe to Africa, but suddenly Africa was in turmoil. Even then, there was problems because many countries got independent in Africa, and that means before they were European countries ruling these African countries, and now they are free. So we know that isn't quite. So there were problems in the country, and we zigzagged around Africa. And instead of going the East African route, we had to go to West Africa, totally different. And from there, we had to cross into Central Africa, mud roads. And our car, I mentioned our T1, 34 horsepowers, 1200 cc. It was not a giant.
I think we might have a picture here of you being stuck there.
Oh, we got stuck for many
Several times.
Did you find
It
one?
happened.
No, that's
But
your
that's-
T1 there.
yeah, it's
This
Nairobi.
is
This on the left-hand side is a T1 in Nairobi. After we went from Europe, North Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, Sudan to
Ethiopia,
Nairobi. This
Ethiopia.
is 24th of December, Christmas 1975, with the and
It's not. Oh, is this it?
no.
no,
this
No,
is
no.
this was the correct picture with a
first
red,
one.
red, white.
This
With a
one.
red white camper, and I'm this kind of skinny guy to the left, and and Juliana is standing, and we had a manual from Volkswagen which really said, you know, how we put new piston in.
Were you rebuilding the motor here?
Yes.
This picture?
Yes.
It was the first time
Oh.
in my life. My father always said, "Boy, you got two left hands," you know, something like that. You are good with a pencil, good with law books and reading stuff, and you are not good. And I thought, Daddy, I will tell you, I will show
learn.
you,
We will
I
learn.
will prove. And we learned. We had during our trips 4 times rebuilt the engine by ourselves.
Did you carry extra parts with you, or how did you get the parts?
No, at that time, Volkswagen bullies, we say Volkswagen buses, vans, were pretty popular in Africa. So they were used as delivery trucks with school buses. It's not like the American or Canadian system, but they are the working horses. At that time, they didn't have this standing or this picture like nowadays that people say, wow, I spent $100,000 just to have one T1. No, at that time, it was just a simple working horse. It was, for us, it was the cheapest way to travel. But instead of going to South Africa in 6 months, it took us almost 1 year. So twice we fixed already we came to South Africa and we wanted to ship to Australia. And I never forget, we met other travelers. We met along the way. Cape Town was a gathering point. It just happened, you know. We stayed in touch without internet, without cellular phone. It worked. It worked by mail. And, you know, we said, I will be there round about Christmas in Nairobi, Christmas night 75. And we went on to South Africa. And one night with 4 persons, Juliana, me, Udo, and Joseph, we sat together drinking wine. And we said, oh, wonderful, how beautiful it was. Not beautiful, but how great it was, adventurous, you know, picnicking beside lions or elephants and the adventure. I traveled 3,000 kilometers with snow chains. There was no...
Through the mud.
Through the mud.
Yeah.
I used snow chains just to get ahead. This was not a 4-wheel drive. This was a 34 horsepower,
2-wheel drive.
2-wheel drive. And the other thing, when we left Bangui, the capital of Nairobi, we didn't have petrol for the next 3,000 kilometers. We put 485 liters of petrol inside the living room of our T1.
Oh,
Yeah, we
you
had
know,
drums and
the big
canisters.
200-liter drum. This is an international, normally drum. This was the biggest drum with 100-liter drums and many little drums. I have pictures. I can prove all this. And every night, at that time, I was smoking pipe. Juliana said, "Go 100 meters away," because this was a potentially bombing area with
Right.
all the petrol. But we made it, and
Into
we were
Sudan.
hopefully overloaded, and we pushed it, and we drove with snow chains, and finally we made it. And then we came to South Africa. We sat together. We wanted to ship to Australia. Friends of us we met on the way. They sold their car. They had also a VW van, and they wanted to fly back home to Germany. We said, "Oh, Africa was so great." And Juliana said she
At
knew
12 o'clock, I said,
it
"Oh,
was
you are
midnight.
crazy, you guys." I go and
You are
sleep.
midnight. And I took some maps, and I took another bottle of wine, and I was going a little bit
Finally,
away.
the only one, I guess.
I was at 3 o'clock at night time, the only one just studying maps. And at 3 o'clock, I went to Juliana, knocking at our T1. She opens the door. What's going on? I said, "Girl, I have the idea. Instead of taking the ship to Australia, we could a second time, travel up to Africa, North Africa, over Afghanistan, Iran, Afghanistan, to India, and then make a big detour, 40,000 kilometers detour, to Australia." And she said, "Okay, let's do it."
In German, I said,
Wow.
ja, mach man. Yes, do it.
Okay, do
were
it.
you just thinking that he was
Let
drunk
me
and
sleep.
wanted to go back to
Yeah,
sleep?
I was so sleeping. So.
But we did it. We did it. So we
On
finally.
this trip, you did that?
Yeah.
Instead, you changed your plan and
Yeah.
went, okay.
I mentioned, before we started here, I mentioned we changed our plans many times, and this was good because we have been flexible. If there was a new opportunity, if there was something new, fascinating, we said, let's do it. And the good thing, it wasn't difficult for me to
Overtalk me or talk me into
how would you say in English to
Convince her.
to convince
Convince her.
Juliana to do it.
Yeah.
We are different people, different thinking, different persons, but we are pulling the same
rope.
rope. Wir ziehen am gleichen
Strick.
Strang. That means we are pulling the same rope.
Same
If-
way. Not
You're,
this
if
way.
you
That's
you're a
will-
team.
yes,
we are a
team.
team
Together,
and
not
working,
yeah.
and we like each other, and we both like to work, and as you know, till nowadays.
And to mention is that those two guys who sold their car, they came into our car.
Oh,
Yeah.
so there was 4 of you traveling in there now.
Four
Yes.
of us
Now,
traveling.
Hang on. Juliana, was there any time that you kind of thought, am I crazy?
I can't remember.
No?
No, I can't remember. I think it was always going on. I saw what could happen. I mean, we
Every day-
would make it.
Every day was
I was
fascinating.
quite
Every day,
optimistic.
we didn't have very much time to think, but because we have, because I wouldn't say every day was a new survival but it was every day had to be managed. At 8 o'clock in the evening, we didn't know what happens tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Would we have trouble with the car? Would we get a permit from
The next country.
one African nation? For example, we waited for 3 weeks in Juba, the capital of southern Sudan. I'm talking about November, December 1975. We waited 3 weeks on a petrol station just to fill our tanks because our 485 liters were gone. Nothing was left when we arrived in southern Sudan. And from there on, we made it through some fascinating areas of
Why did you have
Africa.
to wait 3 weeks?
They didn't
They,
have.
they didn't have.
They didn't have fuel.
No,
No, the
they had to
petrol
get it
stations.
from Khartoum
no
to
one.
Juba.
The Khartoum, more than 1,000 kilometers away, they had convoys with petrol trucks. So,
Okay.
and we waited. They were dry. They were empty. There was nothing left.
And we have to mention that people from that country, they let us get the petrol first.
Yes.
Oh, that was very
Yes,
nice of them.
That was very, very nice.
Sudan-
And that was in Sudan.
Sudan, South Sudan.
Okay.
Sudan now is one of the
Very, very friendly people.
right now there's turmoil. It's one of the destabilized countries in the world right now, and the people are so friendly. Last time we have 2016, 15, 16, we have been in Sudan. They are still
15.
the friendliest, belongs to the friendliest people on earth. They're helpful. You know, recently, I mean, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, we came again into Sudan and we stayed. It was dark. We arrived. There was a little village. We could see the houses and we were staying maybe 200 meters, 300 meters away from the village. And then the next morning, a guy came to our semi truck, to our camper, which is a
This
truck.
was in 2016.
2000, when we, on the
With
way
our-
down,
Not,
it was
not when you had the T1, but
2011.
this is with the
Yeah,
big
just,
one.
Just
Okay.
want to explain how friendly our hospitable the people are. He came to us, strangers. He had a tablet with cookies,
a tray, cookie and
with
tea.
cookie and tea. Just, you know, this, you are my guests.
He offered
Was
to
his
us.
gesture. These are the people of Sudan. So they, now I'm back in 1975. We came as number 14, for example. 13 cars are waiting there, and we got the first petrol after 3 weeks of
our
waiting.
convoy, our whole convoy.
But
There
go
was a
back,
convoy of you?
Yeah, we had a convoy from
No, three cars.
yeah,
Three cars, okay.
Three cars.
those
And
three
the,
cars.
the locals let you fuel up
Yeah.
first to
Yeah.
get on the way.
It was great.
Very nice.
But you know, go back to the crazy night in Cape Town when Juliana said, "Go on, let's
on.
change the route instead of going by ship to Australia, go up to Africa, Afghanistan, India, and you know, so we make our way down to Australia." We did this. We went again zigzag Africa, but this time we stayed on the eastern route. It was adventurous, adventurous, adventurous. There were bandits, there were shootings. Till nowadays, we are here. Nothing really bad happened in our
Did you guys
life.
find yourselves in trouble at any point during that?
Yes, we came into an ambush, into a shooting with street workers on the one side, bandits on the other side. There were shootings, and you know the street workers, they were armed. They had rifles. They came, just opened our car and said, "Go on, go on, go on, go, get away from this place." Then Juliana and me and 6-8 people with rifles, and you know, they were in our little
VW bus.
VW bus, in our bully, in our T1, and we went to the next police station, and then we were escorted past this dangerous area.
So
And
they
then
just wanted help from us.
they wanted
from the
help
robbers.
from us
Oh,
because
okay.
they were in trouble. But they couldn't get away.
So the guys that with the rifles got in your van?
Yes.
In
And they
our
were
van.
shooting at these people?
No,
No,
other bandits
They
were
were shooting
shooting
at
at
them.
these guys.
That got into your van?
Yes,
Yeah.
they
So
were
just stopped
road
us,
workers.
opened the doors and came in. And I said, no, go out. But they came in, and then finally
So
we
you,
left them at the police station, and they were happy, and we were happy to
you guys didn't get
go.
any bullet holes or anything in the van
No.
or anything
No,
like that?
no,
Okay.
we just
No.
had the rifle. To
No souvenirs.
So you dropped him off at the police station,
Yeah.
and then your convoy continued on?
No, it was not a convoy.
No, it
we
was
we
just
were
us.
just
Just you guys,
us.
just you this time.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then we came up north. We, instead of going back to Europe, we went back east. And at that time, we could go through countries where you can't go if you want to live. We came to Afghanistan. At that time, one of the most fascinating countries on earth. You don't believe it. With the story of Afghanistan and what happened there. Proud people, friendly people, helpful people. We had a wonderful time in Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Okay, let's just hold there for 1 second. We're just going to take a break and be right back. Okay.
Do you have a picture of Afghanistan?
So Afghanistan, that's where we're headed to now. You said you met people there. They were very friendly people
Yes.
as well.
Friendly but proud people as well. They were not just like
Hospitable.
hospitable,
Yes.
but
It was a totally different life. This is not Africa. This Afghanistan at that time was like 1850, 70, 80. Yeah, something like this. Proud people with front loader, muzzle loaders, you say. Huh?
Okay.
You know, but it was, in a way, it was also a dangerous terrain surrounding. We have been in Afghanistan 1972. There's
On our
was
way to
one
India.
on the way to India. There's one sealed road, and we said after all our experience in Africa, what should we drive on a sealed road?
A little
We
bit
are looking
snowy.
for more adventure, and there was a northern route following the Russian border, the Soviet Union border at that time, Uzbekistan or something like this. So, and it was Christmas again. The first Christmas on this road trip we had in Nairobi, building our car. The second Christmas we had in Afghanistan on the northern route. We had 15, 20 below. We were traveling for weeks, and we were the only people. Oh, yes, there was a nice story because we came there and the police, it was a dangerous
You had to
area.
ask for a permission. That's
Yes,
why.
you need a permission to drive. This is mainly a military road close to, at that time, Soviet Union border. And but there was a Swiss guy with a Land Rover. They said, yes,
Four-wheeler?
he also wants to go there. Is a Land Rover, four-wheel drive. You are allowed to follow him, to go with him. You know, if you run in trouble with your Volkswagen bus, he will help you. It's okay. You get the permit. So we got the permit. We got some nice pictures, but in one river, our VW van almost overturned. He didn't. He was a good fellow. And the second or third day, this Swiss guy with a Land Rover had a problem with his reverse gear. He couldn't put his gear in reverse. And he was afraid, for good reasons, on this difficult route. You know, if you have a problem with the reverse gear, there might be a problem with the first, third, or fourth gear. He said, no, I'm going back. And we said, we are on the North route. We will do it. We crossed Africa twice. We do the North route. And, you know, we never forget Holy Night. We say Heiligabend.
24th of
Holy night?
Holy Night, 24th of December.
Okay.
This is Holy Night is the 24th
Christmas
of the
Eve.
Christmas Eve. Holy Night. This Christmas Eve. You say Christmas Eve. And we stopped. If possible, we stayed on police stations because this region was very unsafe and there were fightings going on and whatever. And for some reason, people said, stop on police stations. So we got a policeman. He was our guard. He was armed with a rifle and he was standing 3-4 meters and it was very cold outside, 15 below minimum. And, you know, we watched him, but he was our guard. And, you know, we continued our trip and we had a magnificent time. And very few people have done this trip close to the Russian border, especially with...
What country is that? You're next to
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Okay, so we're still in Afghanistan, and
We are still in Afghanistan, and from Afghanistan we went through Pakistan, we went to India, and we went to Nepal. And we both agreed the fact that we had to get rid of our
Methusalem.
travel companion of our car, and we gave it, as they say, bakshish, for free
You gave
to
the
the
car.
government. The whole car,
To the custom.
T1, which would be worth about 70,000 euros today, nowadays. But at that time, he was our working horse.
Right.
And he has done his job. And we needed a stamp, official stamp, in our passport, in our documents. And if you don't get these stamps, you lose money because you have a deposit, and finally the country will find out that you sold your car illegally, made some money. You know, we would have gotten a good amount of money for that car, but it was too risky. No, we go the straight way. So we gave it away to the government, and then we traveled with backpacks through Southeast Asia, to Borneo, to Indonesia. And I never forget the day
Singapore.
in Singapore. Where I never forget the day when
when
Elvis Presley died.
died.
I was so shocked. We were sitting in. It was the year 1977. I was. We were sitting in a small restaurant. We
At the
were
breakfast.
kind of bacon and eggs. I was cutting my eggs, and I was shocked by the news. My egg fell down. You know.
You were an Elvis Presley fan.
I'm an Elvis
Yeah.
Presley fan. Yes, I like the music. I like American music. I'm a country fan music. That's my music.
Nice.
And so that's what I remember. Elvis
So
Presley.
you how far did you backpack now?
Oh, for 3-4 months.
Yeah, and then we
finally,
came to Australia.
Juliana continues.
Then
It's
we
your
came-
turn.
Oh, really? Then we came to Australia. Okay, and then we thought, okay, how can we travel through Australia? The car, too expensive. We couldn't afford that.
We could afford, but you know, we had our
We had our
certain amount of
balance.
money,
Yeah.
and we thought, yeah, interesting way, fascinating way. It was my idea, buying a motorbike.
No, I said no,
My first 1964, I got a BMW with sidecar.
Okay, that was okay.
So I'm always fascinated by motorbikes. I still have a motorbike with sidecar.
Okay, so you wanted a motorcycle, and Juliana,
said
you
no.
said no.
No,
No.
because you know, just sitting here, oh, what's over there?
And,
Oops,
and
what's
finally,
over
she
there?
was a
No,
winner. We got 2 bikes, push bikes.
Push bikes.
Yeah.
From Nino Bassari.
Yes.
Nino Bassari was
He-
a
he-
winner
he-
in 1936
Yeah, he-
Olympics Germany.
Yeah, but he had a sports
Cycle shop.
in Melbourne. So
Outskirts of
we
Melbourne.
bought these bicycles and
Traveled
traveled
through
for
Australia.
13,000
Of course,
kilometers.
in
And it was
summertime.
summertime because, you know, on a long trip, and summertime in
Yeah.
Australia is kind of warm.
Just a little bit, yeah, just a little bit.
Little bit.
It was so warm that our tires broke because it was too hot on the asphalt to
They
drive.
melted?
And they just pang.
No.
Blue, okay.
Yeah. They blew
Yeah.
up.
And the thing with Australia, because, you know, we didn't sleep in hotels. We never slept in hotels.
Not once in all your travels did you sleep in a hotel?
Yes, in Southeast Asia, in these
Yeah, of
cheap
course.
traveler
Later.
hotels, yes.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Could you stop
And
a second?
South America, yeah.
Pause.
Was ist passiert?
My leg.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, we had these 2 bicycles, and we didn't want, you know, Australia is pretty much populated, you know,
The
close
outside
close
rim.
to the seas. Inside the country is the outback, and at that time, most Australians said, "I rather fly back to London, back home," because many Australians felt like British, and they very British, and the outback was something, yeah, far away, further than. Farther away
Back of
than
beyond. No?
back of beyond.
And you're talking about Australians living there.
Australia.
They never
Yeah.
went into the outback because they
and-
knew
and
what
the
it was
peop-
like,
the-
right?
The people I felt, the people in the coasts are like Europeans, but the people in the outback are totally
Different.
different, and they see the people at the coast also very different. And we found two very different type of people also going to the outback.
And once we were asked whether we don't have enough money to buy a car, that we go with bicycles.
They didn't understand, you know.
We thought, okay, we want
wasn't
it.
just the
We
money.
like it.
We could have bought not the most expensive car, but we could have bought a car. But we liked the adventure. You know, it was added just another dot or paint on the picture of our lives. And we slept in the wilderness, and we saw more than one snake and more than one scorpion. Luckily, one of the deadly spiders in our sleeping bag.
Just about everything in Australia can kill you.
Yes.
And you guys are sleeping on a tent in the middle of the
No.
outback.
No,
No tent?
We didn't
Yes.
pitch up. We didn't pitch up.
Sometimes we did not.
Some
Yeah.
we did.
Just slept under the
Often.
stars.
No, we put
Big tarp.
We put a big tarp on the ground, and we hoped the snakes, you know, from the rattle of the tarp, would scare the snakes away. I don't know, maybe.
You
but-
have to be optimistic.
yeah, and we tried everything. So it was a real adventure. I would repeat and do many other adventures as well. But Australia, yes, fascinating, but not on a bike in summertime. We had 40 degrees, and we drank 7 liters a person a day. And we had to go from one road, not every day, but sometimes, you know, we had to go from one roadhouse to the other. And in some days,
One
we
time it was
cycled.
150 kilometers
A roadhouse.
from
Yes,
one roadhouse
yeah.
to the other because we had to get water.
What's a roadhouse?
A roadhouse is something like a
a-
place where you get a petrol station. You can
Okay.
sleep there. You can have a restaurant, and yeah.
It's
And
sometimes
they have those like every 150 kilometers?
no, at,
Yeah,
at that
150.
at that time, no,
100,
no,
150.
no. Sometimes also
70,
50,
yeah.
70,
But
100
one was 150.
kilometers. But in the real outback, you have these big big distances, and you have to think. I mean, we had spare tires, we had always food, but water was our main problem, and water is not easy to get. You know, sometimes we went to bores, and the bores in the outback, sometimes it was salty water. We drank the water, you know, we had always had luck, and we didn't have filters at that time.
So right now we're how far into your 8 years? Right?
Yeah, year 3.
Year 3. So you're now in the middle of the outback?
Yes.
Okay. Did you meet any of the indigenous people while you were out there?
We
Seldom.
didn't really meet them. We saw them.
Yes.
Saw them? Were they
Yeah.
friendly or not friendly?
No, not.
Let's
n-
say
nothing. They ignored.
Many of them have been.
They ignored us.
They ignored
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started out in what side of Australia did you
We
start?
started in Melbourne.
Oh.
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
What
Okay.
was it? August when we started from Melbourne.
And you're heading to where?
Darwin.
Back. Oh,
Darwin,
and then back via Adelaide, back to Melbourne,
So you're doing the East Coast.
Yes, and
Okay.
then the central.
the centre.
And right now when we're talking,
Alice
you're
Springs.
in the middle of the outback.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Carry on.
And Alice Springs. The west part we did twice later,
Okay.
but not on bikes. So, and after Australia, I mean, it was a new experience. We we like body fitness, and you know, we in our life we did many, things where we needed and
our
used our
muscles.
bodies, kayaking, canoeing, hiking, etc. And we liked it in a way. It was not easy, and we said, okay, let's go to Tasmania, which is part of Australia. We cycled around Tasmania, and then we flew with the bikes to New Zealand. And at that time, believe me, I always said, this is a dream of a country. We loved the New Zealanders, the friendliest people on earth, you know, and it was very hard for us to get along because we stopped, or let's say we were cycling and the car stopped. They said, oh, cyclist, where are you from? Germany. Oh, come on, tonight we make supper for you. So, and then we stayed there 2 days. You have to go to our friends. They are 100 kilometers away. And they called in advance. When we came, meal was ready. So it was amazing. The friendliness of the New Zealanders, top, world top. So it has changed because now New Zealand is one of the top tourist destinations, but still a wonderful, quite peaceful country. It was not the only time we have been in Australia. We did later on some other crazy things in Australia. And after Australia and New Zealand, we went on
To
Taiwan, Korea,
Philippines.
Oh, the Philippines. A
All on
country-
bike? You were doing
No,
that?
we left the bikes.
We
Okay.
left the bikes in Australia. And the Philippines we did with outrigger boats. Fantastic country, a country with more than 7,000 islands. Really.
And with
Great.
backpacks.
And with backpacks. So we this time we lived like in Southeast Asia because it's easier from one island to the other instead of paying heavy costs for
ferries,
shipping.
yeah.
We had sometimes these very adventurous outrigger boats. So the Philippines we loved, and then finally we came to Japan, and we said, how we travel around Japan? Japan, I was thinking as a motorbike driver, Honda. Yes, we bought a second-hand Honda.
And this time I did not say no.
Yeah,
No.
because in
You were sold on the motor this time, right?
In Japan, the thing is, out of 1,000 people, if you are lucky, half a person speaks English. Yes,
But they are friendly.
In the cities, they speak.
But as soon as
Great,
they
great.
understand what you want, they really take the time to bring you to the place where we wanted to go.
Very helpful
And
people.
Very helpful.
And
They
the
couldn't
thing is-
explain, but they left everything they had to do. They brought us over.
And the thing is, in Japan, it was hard for us to get around the country because the typical situation, it's about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. We say, let's pitch up the tent. There's a nice beach. There were some other beaches. So we pitched up our tent and we watched the people. There was one person from one of the tents coming. This tent maybe had 4 or 6 people, and he said, of Japan, sometimes they speak relatively good English. So they invited us
come
for
over.
the meal, come over. So, and every night, and this not happened one night, it happened the next night, and it happened the next night. And after the meal, always the typical question, sing a German song.
Really?
And we had to sing that they are really very close. They use the civil
Law.
Their law book is a civil law book of Germany. They translated it. They had copied many things, and in many ways,
And they like the German music,
yeah,
like Beethoven.
and they like the German beer, and they like to drink as well. So it was.
So you literally had to sing for your meals
no, after
Oh.
the meal.
after the meal. Okay.
after no. It was pure friendliness, but
No,
it's
Yeah,
part
yeah.
it's part also of their culture, and I really like that. But we never forget one situation. We had great summer festivals, very picturesque, with thousands of people dressed in old costumes. Very, very wonderful, very wonderful. But we never forget one night. So we came to this beach again. There was this other tent.
They
There were
had
other
big tents.
There, there was a big tent.
Not
but,
just a tent
But
to
the
sleep
first
in, a
people
big
who
one.
came
Like
to us.
a circus tent?
Yeah,
No,
party.
Party
no,
tent.
a
Party tent,
a
okay.
big party tent. So, but luckily, first the one from the smaller tent came. It was a small company, maybe 6 or 8 people, and again the meal, the song,
Men and women, both.
both, yes, and they always, most of the time they said, this weekend we have our
Holiday.
year holiday.
Unbelievable.
They
Unbelievable.
offered their holiday, 3 weeks of holiday time to the company, and had this weekend their yearly holiday instead of having
So I'm not quite understanding.
they donate their
Holidays
holidays
to the company they work for.
Yeah, they just take a weekend and that's it.
At that
One
time,
weekend.
At that time, we are talking about 77.
That's what the people told us.
1977, okay.
In many
Change,
cases,
probably.
because they lived
For
their company, they identify there. So we had a great time. But this, I have to continue this night. We had a meal with the small tent. I call it the small tent. We came back about midnight. Juliana said, someone is coming from there. Only men, about 20 men. That's.
I said, no, I crawl in the tent, I'm not here.
And we couldn't communicate, just with signs, you know. And he said, come over. I said, oh no, we had our meal there, no problem. He spoke a little English. He was the only one who spoke a little English.
Just
So
Sapporo beer.
he had to come, and and then what happened. The first of the guys stood up, got a glass, and he said, Sapporo whiskey. I understood this. And he asked me, what do we want? Maybe I said, Sapporo whiskey. We both drank. He stepped aside. The next guy came. I stood there. What is the next? What would you like? And he said, gin. Okay, I got gin as well. We
Each
drank.
one of these guys is you're having a
Just
drink
one,
with
and
it?
Dieter's having all
All
of
of
them.
them.
All
Oh.
of them. They took turns, but Dieter was still,
No,
still
How did
there.
that end up?
It
Oh,
it
he
ended
called-
up about 3 o'clock in the morning. I made it back to Juliana, to our little tent, and
You crawled in.
I said it was the first time in my life that the tent,
Tent was turning around.
circling around me. And about 5 o'clock, she said, "Better get out. The air is fresher outside."
I got drunk just by his breathing.
No, and believe it or not, it was 6:30 in the morning. Then the guy came from the big tent with all the people with all heavy drinking, and the Japanese are heavy drinkers, I'm just hopping on now, 40 years. We climbed Mount Kenya with a Japanese guy, and
We just moved forward.
Yeah, yeah.
forward. We are just jumping to 2010. We
Okay.
crossed, we crossed
11.
2011,
Okay.
and we crossed Africa, and we
12.
climbed Mount Kenya, one of the highest mountains, more than 5,000 meters, in Central Africa. And he always said, "I like to be drunk." And to be honest, I hate to be drunk. I don't mind having a nice drink, but I hate to be drunk. So the next morning, a guy about 6 o'clock came.
So
and-
yet back in Japan.
Now we're back in Japan, okay?
yeah, now we are 1978 back in Japan, and he came with a cola.
Cola bottle, a
Coca-Cola
a
bottle
glass
in
cola
his,
bottle.
in his hand. I said, "Oh, good,
Coke.
cold Coca-Cola." No, he said, "No, we filled it up with Sapporo whiskey for you." No, I said, no,
Not for me.
not for me. So if you travel, you
Different
strange
experiences.
things are happening. So we have been for about 3 months in Australia, and then we hopped in Japan. And
but it was
from-
beautiful. The summer festivals
No,
were just
Japan
gorgeous.
was fascinating. Every country was different. People are different, but the people to us always, worldwide, have been nice and gentle and helpful and inviting. I mean, there are some crooks.
Yeah, you have them
sometimes
all over
you
the
have
world.
them all over, but my general impression is very, very positive. So, and that's
For people in Japan or just people in general?
In general.
In general, there are always some
But-
crooks, but you find them especially in big
Yeah.
cities. And
Yeah, but-
Well, you
But-
don't hear too many people talking about people like that today. That's very nice to hear.
Yes, yes.
I'm glad you guys have had that experience.
Yes, yes.
So-
but I think, in German we have this saying, wie du in den Wald reinrufst, so schallt es zurück. I try to translate. The way, if you
call into the forest.
call into
it
the
comes back
wild,
like the
the
echo.
echo comes back.
If you are
the
friendly,
same way, what is
get
your
friendly.
expression in English? Is there something?
You reap what you sow.
you reap.
You reap what you sow.
Maybe-
You get back what you give.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
something like
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So general impression.
Yeah,
is
just a
good. Yeah.
friendly look. So you get
Yeah, so if you're
we
friendly,
never-
Yeah.
they're
If you look
friendly
like
back
this,
to
We
you.
never we
Doesn't
had our
work.
bad experience,
Yeah.
but that happened later. But Yes.
In comparison to the
could
time-
happen. It could happen everywhere.
Okay,
And
so now
we're
we're
leaving
we leave
Japan. We are
Japan.
leaving
What
Jap-
year?
No, that was 3 months.
Oh, this is-
78.
So which year?
78. We made it to Hawaii, stayed there for a while, came to San Francisco. Oh, no. We had this ticket to Los Angeles. And then from Los Angeles airport, after all these many years with thousands and thousands of adventures, I saw the lights of Los Angeles and I got afraid. I thought, no,
Too many people,
too many
lights,
people,
too many
big
everything.
cities. This is probably more than I could stand. And it's the same night. We didn't, instead of paying for a hotel room, we just put our sleeping bags and slept in the airport. Next morning, we bought, instead of that, we paid more than for the hotel. We bought tickets to San Francisco, and we said, San Francisco is the birthplace of the hippies. We are not really hippies, but, we are influenced by
So
the
you landed in L.A.
Yeah,
LA.
stayed at the airport.
Looked outside and went, this is not for
That's
me.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Woke up
I
in the
was
morning.
afraid. Yeah.
Bought tickets to
We
San
didn't, we
Francisco.
didn't leave the airport. We bought it there and flew to San Francisco. Went to the YMCA, and then we started looking around in San Francisco. And this was the birthplace of the hippie time, and the flower power type of guys and girls were all around. And we went to Haight Street, and these centers of the hippie worldwide invasion, and that changed really the world. It has changed in a different way. It has changed, or it finally led us to this evening here, because we are still on the road. We are still hippies. We are not hippies, but there's a kind of unrest, but still there is this Neugier, this curiosity, even after 55 years being on the road, doing different things, having written many books about these adventures. But at that time we didn't write any books, and we didn't make any money. Yes, we for 3 weeks we worked as apple pickers in New Zealand, but otherwise we did never walk.
We never spoiled the travel with work.
Really?
So we
So
just
the money that you saved for that 5 years prior to leaving has now lasted.
8
We
years.
planned 3 years, but there was still some money left, and we learned how to live with little money.
At that time, on an average over 8 years, it was 1,000 Deutschmark a month.
Okay, so back in the 70s. Okay.
That was not little.
Sometimes
but
more
not,
when we had to buy flights. Or
Right.
when we bought,
cycling Australia,
things.
drinking just water.
Yeah.
That didn't cost you much at all. No,
No,
fuel.
Yeah.
No fuel.
No.
Yeah.
So finally, in San Francisco, we were looking for a T1 because we knew every screw and everything from a Volkswagen T1. And one day, one guy said, "There's one close to Golden Gate Park, Peter and Wolf Car Company. Go there. They are dealing with Volkswagen. They are 2 Germans." And so we met Wolf. We say Wolf likes wolf. And he said, "Where are you living?" And we said,
YMCA.
"In the YMCA, downtown and close to the harbor." And he said, "Why? We have a garden house. Come over. It's
can stay with us."
you don't need."
Business.
Go ahead. So we're going to start by, let's pour our beers. And we'll have a cheers. After all, this is called Over the Bar. And when you're having a conversation over a bar, you got to have a beer.
Okay.
What is a bar without beer? Yeah.
Cheers.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. And cheers to our production lady over there in the corner.
Yes.
Sorry we can't reach you.
Oh, cheers.
We can.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers. Zum Wohl.
Cheers. Prost. We say.
Okay, so we were in San Francisco, and
We were looking for the T2.
The
We
which?
were looking
We
for
met
a
Wolf and
Oh,
Peter.
the T1 or the T2.
yeah. We
T2.
looked for a T1 because we knew every screw of that,
Yeah.
and we came in touch with Wolf's car company. He has a VW car company, and he said, "Yeah, recently I bought a T2, so the next generation."
From Swiss
Model
people.
something like, I think it was model 70 or something like this. So
From
a little
Swiss-
bit more comfortable, a few more horsepowers, but motor didn't work. And he said, I make you a good price. And so it was a well-traveled car. You made the Panamericana already.
With
The
Swiss people.
Swiss people, and they had a problem with the engine in San Francisco, and they sold it for a little money, and he fixed the engine. And
He was going to fix the engine.
he was going to fix the engine.
the
We
problem.
talked about the price, and we agreed, and
You
everything
bought it
was
with the engine not working.
with the engine. No, he agreed. In about 3 weeks, I
will be
will have the car fixed.
Okay.
And
and you
get it
can
for.
be in our garden house, so it's no
And-
problem for you.
And his wife Brigitte,
It's a good cook.
she is a good cook, so she bought the biggest turkey in town. That means San Francisco. So we had such a wonderful life. But he was talking about wolf. We call it wolf
Minutes.
weeks or wolf minutes.
Wolf
a
times.
week.
So
This 3 weeks means
this. You found this T2
Yes.
Yes.
with no engine, like needed a new engine
Yes.
rebuild.
yeah.
You negotiated a price.
Mm-hmm.
He said it would take 3 weeks, and in that 3 weeks, you stayed at his house.
He
Right.
stayed at his house.
Garden house.
Yeah, he said it takes 3 weeks.
It would take
it,
3
it,
weeks.
it was at least 6 or 7 weeks. Yeah, we got a nice VW van.
Hence the wolf weeks, right?
Wolf weeks.
Yes,
Wolf weeks, okay.
Wolf weeks.
We had a good
and
time, we had a
good
car.
time.
We had a
he
big-
gave us a Beetle, you
Yeah,
know.
so we have been
I have
independent.
enough cars. They had 2 Porsches. So it's, yeah, you can use, you go out, go in, there's a drink. We stayed in his house. It was great. We had our privacy.
in his garden house. So
They-
we had our privacy and
with washrooms, toilets, and everything.
So
It
that was a
great.
nice vacation from
It was a nice
traveling.
vacation, and it was a nice way to learn. Yeah. To
San
get
Francisco.
in touch with San Francisco, to learn about San Francisco, to be there. We've been many times at the heights, some certain areas. We crossed the, the Golden Gate Bridge many
several
times.
times. And we heard the horn when the, wie heißt Nebel?
fog,
The fog horn
cane.
over the
Foghorns?
Yeah,
Yes, the
foghorn.
foghorns. So this was the sound of San Francisco. And finally, we got
This
our
T2.
VW van, and it was November. November. We started in
cold.
Australia in summer. We started our trip across the western states of the U.S. in November, and we made our way. We had a good time. The campgrounds were empty in November, so we celebrated December in Bryce Canyon, or close to Bryce Canyon.
Bryce, oh no, Science Canyon.
Yeah, and we wanted to go towards Salt Lake City because from our account at home in Germany, my parents sent money from our account to the bank of
So and
in
so. We didn't
Lomé,
know.
Togo,
Uh-huh.
in Nairobi, in Cape Town, in Tokyo. So we got at certain places our money, and we choose the correspondence bank of the Deutsche Bank, the German bank, the biggest bank in Germany, in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And it always worked fine. And then we came towards Salt Lake City. It was 2 days before we wanted to be there to pick up our money for the next 6 months or so. We saw a shop.
We had
We-
about $40 left, I think.
Yeah, it
We
was
went to a supermarket and they had
films.
They had films and cheese, low prices, and
Yeah,
we spent
and-
almost all the $40 because we thought, okay,
No, it
tomorrow
was
we will-
more than $40.
Okay, let's say
because
60.
I bought more than 10, 15
Okay.
films, you know,
But then-
Kodachrome 64 at that time.
But
Film
people
for,
used
for your
films
camera.
for
Yeah.
my camera.
Okay.
But then the
And
money was gone.
money was gone. We
expected.
knew in 2-3 days we get the full load with enough gas to go to Salt Lake City, and it was cold when we came to Salt Lake City, and it was the first time on all our trips, before and after this, there was no money, because Juliana's father, he was too busy baking biscuits for Christmas.
Not really. He was going shopping or whatever. He didn't have the time.
He didn't have the time to send us the money. Well, the first time it was a surprise, and we choose from now on. My dad would send us. That worked. Yes, I better go. a
Okay,
little
no
bit
fighting
away.
over here.
No. But that was really
It's like
special.
this. And we had no money.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
We went to a pawn shop.
I went to a pawn shop the first time as the last time in my life to give them my watch, and I got maybe
Some dollars.
$30 or something like that. I can't remember. I phoned our folks in Germany, and my brother would write. This was the first day in Salt Lake City. Would call me back on a public phone. I don't know how it is in Canada, but in the States at that time, you could from overseas ring a phone, a public phone. We should be there, let's say at 10 o'clock in the morning next day, and my brother, would arrange everything with the money. And we told him we have no money and it's bloody cold.
So
It was around about
20 degrees minus at least.
It was yes. It was
December.
December, end of December, the last days of December.
Close.
And we both drove with our VW and past Salt Lake Cities up in the
Even
mountains.
up in the mountains where it was colder.
2000. We had the next morning 25 degrees Celsius below. Our
And the
good
new engine?
new car with the engine. I turned the key. Nothing. And then I stopped the friendly guy with a pickup truck. He said, "No problem, I pull
I
you
will
down."
tow you.
But I will tow you. But you know how it is? If this others as my T1 has a power steering, this works only when the engine is running. It was a hell drive, and he tried to pull me
To give a start.
to give me a kick at a start, while pulling, and it didn't work. Finally, everything was good, and we came to the outskirts of Salt Lake City.
And there he left us because he had to do his business.
Yes. And Juliana managed to get to this
I walked to this particular public telephone. I don't know how far it was.
public telephone.
And this was to arrange to get your money.
Yes.
You had
And
to
it
meet
was-
them, and you were broke down out in the mountains, had to get there to get
Yes,
your money.
by 25 degrees below Celsius, and this is cold.
Yes.
And
I even
suddenly,
didn't take a bus because I wanted to save all the money we still had. So
yes.
Yeah, I
the
walked-
rest
I
of
walked.
my money for the
yeah, I
For your
walked to
watch.
this public
for my
telephone.
watch. Yeah. And then the wonderful thing happened. It very often in our lives happened. The house next door opened, and an old man at that time, about my age, old man, came out, and he said, "It must be cold. Come in, have a tea or a soup or something."
Have a soup.
Yes.
While you were walking and freezing.
No. She was.
Oh, she was back
I was
already.
already
Okay.
back.
She was back.
But he said because Dieter was laying under the car checking what was wrong, and it was real cold.
Yes,
So he
and-
invited us to a
and-
soup.
Nice.
They were Mormons. They died several years. We stayed in touch over the years.
Till they
Wonderful
died.
people. Wonderful people.
We met them. We visited them later with our daughter Bettina.
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
Yeah. Even many years later, we stayed in touch, and he worked. He was a very friendly family. They were Mormons. Family comes first. That's their motto, and they are very hospitable. And make a long story short, we stayed at their property, and we took our engine out. This the new one.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to say, we realized something is wrong. While your car
Oh,
gets,
the crankshaft.
yes, the crankshaft was broken.
Oh
Because
no!
of pulling.
Yes,
Because he pulled you.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
You-
no,
you-
no.
It didn't
I
start,
asked
it
him.
didn't
I
start.
asked
Okay.
him.
Just to
You
give him
know, yes, it was my fault, but I was so under pressure because we expected this call from Germany, and he pulled me, and nothing happened, and it broke. We took the engine out, took it apart, then we saw this. It's a crankshaft inside.
Yes.
Was broken, and we took it out, brought it while we were living in Mr. and Mrs. Cannon's house. That's their name.
And we had the garage where they normally had their car, so that's where our VW bus was.
And he had a relationship to Germany when he was a young man. He went on a mission. You know, the Mormons go as missionaries around
Right.
the world, and his destination was Germany. So even during the dark times of Germany, he was a friend of Germany, and he was a wonderful person. Finally, yes, this was our fourth time that we took an engine apart and put everything together, and finally it worked. And we stayed, we went into Monument Valley in the middle of January. It's cold up there in the mountains, you know, about 2,000 meters high. And we found this is a little bit too cold. And we said, no, we go South Mexico. So the first time in our life, we went down Mexico. And then the next summer, because we haven't been in Canada at that time, you know, I wanted to go because we were on the way to Alaska. Don't forget.
Right.
We
You were doing
zigzag.
that big loop.
Yes,
Pretty
yes.
close.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
we are doing the loop. We on the way to Alaska. We now States.
So
Mexico.
We left San Francisco, went to Mexico,
No,
went-
Salt
went
Lake
up to
City.
or Salt Lake City. Yeah,
And
Salt
then
Lake City.
go to
Then
Mexico.
some national parks in the winter. It's beautiful,
Yosemite.
but it's not really fun because we had 10, 15
Below
below.
zero.
Always
Yeah.
cold, yeah.
It was always cold, and nowadays you have these wonderful diesel heatings and whatever
Right.
propane. We
So from
just had
Salt Lake City to Mexico. How long did you spend down there?
the rest of the winter, 3
Rest
months.
of the winter, and then turn around and headed back towards Alaska.
no,
No,
back towards Canada.
Canada. Okay,
And then we
but
came,
Alaska being your final
yes,
destination
but
point.
we are on year 4. Think about we are talking the whole trip took us 8
years,
so
okay.
we come close to the half time.
Right.
So we came to Canada. We came to Ontario, kind of zigzag. We have never been before in Canada. We are talking about 1989, and yes, 89.
89? No,
Nee.
70.
78. Sorry,
78
78.
or 79, I don't know.
So, and one day, it was not far from Algonquin. There was a canoe outfitter, you know, for tourists who just make a sunset cruise in a little canoe, a yellow canoe with a shamrock. I fell in love.
Oh,
a
hang
second
on.
time.
I think we have. Do we have a picture? of
Yeah,
that?
it's on Spray Lake.
Yes, we had this. I've seen this canoe.
Not there.
It's really,
No.
no, that's,
No,
No.
next.
Can you
I
go to
think
the?
we have seen it.
If you go to the media, it'll show you all the pictures.
no, it's not working.
Not working.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway.
All right. So
See if
I
I
have
can
seen
work
the
on
yellow banana with the shamrock
yes,
on
yes,
it. Yes,
on the
absolutely.
blue, on the blue bus.
Yeah.
You know, I never forget, we bought this for 130 Canadian dollars. At that time, it was not cheap, but definitely it was not expensive. And we had no idea how a canoe should be shaped for what we later did. This was a flat bottom canoe for the lakes up there, for day trips, for short trips. And we bought this and we said, okay, we buy this to take it down for the sunset cruise. But
Lake.
this canoe changed our life because we talked to people and we heard about the Churchill River and we said, okay, let's do a trip on the Churchill. And that everything happened, like many things in our life happened instantly within weeks. We got simple equipment, no Gore-Tex equipment, no fancy stuff, just durable, sometimes heavy stuff. We said, okay. Then we left our truck close to the Pas in northern Manitoba, hopped on the train to Churchill, Hudson's Bay,
Towards Churchill.
Hudson's Bay, and we told the train driver or conductor, please stop at the bridge where the railroad crosses the Churchill River.
So it's
And
kilometers so and so.
It's
So
kilometers.
you had the canoe was with you
Yes.
on the
canoe
train.
and
all the luggage.
You left the T2 in
Yes.
on
At
somewhere.
RCMP. We always went to the RCMP,
Yeah.
and they always gave us a safe place
to
for
store
our
it
car.
for the
They would let you store your vehicle there?
Yes.
Yes.
I want to see you try that today. It ain't gonna work.
But that was
In northern
at that time-
Manitoba, northern Saskatchewan, in remote areas, it works.
might
Back
I- I'm-
1979, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
but, maybe
but
still.
even now, people are very friendly, and
So-
we talked to the train driver definitely, and he said no problem, I will stop. Maybe it
in the
was
middle of nowhere. He
kilometer
stopped.
80. He stopped for us,
He took all our stuff out.
He was on the way to Churchill Hudson Bay, which is a big destination nowadays to watch the polar bears.
Right,
the
yes.
Churchill Hudson Bay.
So
So then
Then we were there. The
then
train
we
was
were
gone.
there. It was a funny feeling.
He
You know,
stops, the conductor stops the train, all these people on there,
Yes.
and lets you unload
Yes.
your canoe
Yes.
Yes.
in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Right.
And were these
and we
people in there
started-
clapping their hands?
No,
going,
but they were
"Woo-hoo"?
watching.
No,
They
I
were
bet.
watching.
but many locals, and for the locals, this is
It was like TV or so.
No, not TV. I think very normal. I think it was a normal part of their life. So many people are doing crazy things in the bush, and so it was the first time in my life that I had a very detailed maps, topographical maps, but it's unbelievable. These lakes, and because the Churchill River is a connection of endless lakes. Here is the lakes. In between, there is maybe 5 kilometers of river, then the waterfall, then the next lake, bigger lakes, smaller lakes. It's a labyrinth. Labyrinth. It's a labyrinth, really. And if you get lost, you are lost.
So you have to get used to what is this on the map and what is this in the distance. How does it
It's-
look like? You
How does it
can't
compare
measure.
to your map? And
Yeah, you
the
have
width,
to get
the
it.
width of your fingernail might be 30 kilometers in
Yeah, but
in
the maps
nature.
have been real good. But you
so
have
was
to
this not like the first time you've had to navigate by map only?
yes
Yes.
This is your first time ever?
Yes.
Yes.
Never used a map before?
maps,
Yes,
but not on the river.
But
out
on
sea.
a road,
Auto
yes.
maps,
Road,
car
yeah.
maps, yes.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
But it was the first big canoe trip we ever
Of our
did.
life, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, one day you
With
have
a map.
to do the first thing.
In the middle of the nowhere,
Yes.
dropped off
Yes.
a train,
Yes,
never using a
topographical maps, but not for
Cheers.
water. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy.
But
It's unbelievable.
we
What's that?
I tried to get camera 3, but it's not on.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Oh yeah, cheers.
Okay.
I forgot that
Cheers.
Go!
part. Skull.
Okay. Cheers.
All right. So we're now in the middle of the Churchill River, where you can get lost if you are a half a fingernail out on your map. Keep going.
But it didn't take 2 days, and I felt this is the most satisfying life I ever lived. It wasn't the first time that we heard the loon, but the call of the loon still,
Oh, yeah.
we heard the loon just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And it's still miracle, especially if you are totally alone by yourself. And we had the luck at the beginning, and the weather in northern Manitoba and northern Saskatchewan in summertime usually is very stable. You know, it's
Dry.
just the opposite of winter. In summer is dry, very dry, hot, clear days, cool nights, wonderful weather. And there we've been, and you know, we crossed Afghanistan, we crossed Africa twice, we managed that. Why shouldn't we manage this? You know, I'm not doing it blue-eyed. Is it the right term?
Blue-eyed? Blind?
No,
Yeah,
the
like-
blue-eyed in German we say
Blurry-eyed, it's-
blauäugig. That means you just look at it and say, "I can do it."
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
no. It's I'm not blauäugig. I'm using this German term.
Not too risky.
I know what I do. I had done so many things, and I know my limits. And within these limits, I take responsibility for the two of us. That's still the same way since
Nowadays.
55 years. And yeah, we manage, and we travel slow, but you know, this was a trip with open end, because we left, I can't remember this little, close to the Pa. Yes,
The Pa.
the Pa.
The
The
Pa.
museum.
P-A-S.
Yeah.
Nothing
The
else.
Pa.
La
The-
Pa.
La Pa.
La
La
Pa.
Pa.
And so we got away from this place, and there are no trains and no airports. There are kind of bush roads, some bigger mining roads, and we didn't know where our trip would end, and we had no idea. People told us there's always a chance that you run into a little town. There is a Hudson's Bay store, and there you could refresh your supplies. Yes, that happened. So, and we paddled on for a few weeks,
We
and
came
then
to the Southern
we
Indian Lake where there was
came
still
to the
ice.
southern Indian
Middle
Lake.
of June.
Middle of June. And then we had this crazy situation. Oh, yes, we had a dog. Yes, we wanted to have a dog. We had a dog in San Francisco. We got it
From
from,
the
the
SPCA,
SPCA,
from the
the dog shelter.
Animal shelter.
And we called him Francis because he was from San Francisco. And this crazy
Yeah, and he
dog,
was used when we came.
he was
and
relative young.
He jumped off. So, but we came into ice.
And he jumped on the ice. This brittle.
Oh.
He thought that, whatever he thought, but
So it was terrible.
got
We
him
managed
back.
to get him. We managed to get him back, and it's a southern Indian lake, and we tried
We
to
turned
fiddle
around
our
because
way through the
the ice chunks was hitting the canoe, so it was good to turn around.
So then we turned around after several weeks, but we had the experience now. We
Turned around to go where?
Back.
No,
Back upriver?
not really back.
Not really
No,
back, but
to
but
Leaf
the next
Rapids.
place, yeah.
To Leaf Rapids.
Yeah.
This
To a
is-
town?
This is a town
Okay.
close. You know, there are towns. There are bush towns. There are mining camps.
And there are sometimes
lo-
bridges over
locals, natives live there, and and then we met people there from southern Canada, and they just they visited someone there, and we said, "Is it possible? Any idea how we could get a lift? How we could get back to the Pa?" And they said, "Yeah, we have not a camper, a van, a van. You could put your canoe
All
on
your
top,
stuff."
and so that's how we came back. To
So
the-
how far down from the train trestle where they dropped you off to where you got to?
I just can't say it in weeks.
2 weeks?
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
4 to 5 weeks we have. In kilometers, no idea.
And then it froze up, so then you had to paddle
No,
back?
No.
this was a
At
big
that-
lake.
the
It was
summer was gone.
early summer, and it was still in
Still
mid-June,
ice. Okay.
mid-June on ice on southern Indian Lake.
So we didn't
So
go on
this
that
was a
summer.
surprise. We learned that, but this is a beautiful time to travel. As the mosquitoes are not that bad early summer, and but you know.
Canada
I-
doesn't have big mosquitoes.
No, I've never seen a real big mosquitoes. They go to Juliana. So, yeah. So no, I'm resistant.
I can
fine.
eat as much as garlic as I want. They still love me.
Vitamin B.
Vitamin B, okay.
Vitamin B.
Yeah, okay.
That works.
I should try.
Yes, and
So, but that was that summer. We didn't
that
try
summer, it's the same summer. It was early. It was middle of June. We went to the Alaska Highway, and the first time we made it to Alaska, 78. The first time we bought, I still have it, the milepost. You know the milepost, the guidebook for the Alaska Highway. That year, 78. Since then, I have many
Yeah.
mileposts. The last milepost I bought is from 2014.
You still have it in here.
2014, and this year I thought I don't need another milepost. I've traveled the Alaska Highway that often. I don't need a milepost, but milepost is great. It was the first time. The first time we traveled the Alaska Highway, it was most of the stretch, most of the part was a dirt road, a gravel road. You know, on top oily, tricky, and people said Alaska or bust. And now we had a real good luck. A good friend gave us an early Alaska license plate, and that says North to the future. Im Norden ist die Zukunft. That's how we say in German, North to the future. That was a slogan in the early years. So since this year, I got a license plate 1966
Oh, nice.
from the Alaska. A real Alaska. It's not a joke, a tourist thing. So first time we
Back
went
in
to-
1978, that was a trek and a half. It was a tough trek.
It was a tough trek,
Yeah.
and we got some chips in the windscreen, and you know,
We made our own windscreen shelter.
Yes, we have a chicken wire.
Chicken wire,
You know,
yeah.
we managed to have chicken wire around, and you know, this
Hang
oily
on,
stuff.
hang on. You put chicken wire on your windshield
Yeah, we have a distance. We made it from a little wood piece.
to stop the rocks from hitting?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Might have to try
Yeah,
that around here in
you
winter
just have
time.
to travel, then you get ideas how
we-
to survive.
Just two days ago, we got a new windscreen. So these rocks are still in the air. Yeah, that happened on the Alaska. This one, we just got changed. Happened on the Alaska Highway again. Even with the good roads, it happens. So dirt was thick, you know, a centimeter thick in the back of our truck, and it was almost impossible to get it down with all the oily stuff inside. So it was the first time we saw Mount Denali, as Mount McKinley, and it was just a great trip, and I loved it. So this was, you could say, this was the
Hang on.
end of my boys' dream.
Hang on a sec. Our camera's into here, but we've got the first 8 years.
Yeah, but we could, long story.
Yeah.
It's
Make it
also possible.
Long story
We're
short.
already recording, so next
Oh,
time you
okay.
come back, we have to finish. So we get 8 years tonight.
Okay, so you're now in Alaska, right?
Yes.
We finished the Churchill, or is there something that I
Yeah.
missed in between there?
No, we finished the Churchill. We
No,
went up to Alaska.
we didn't finish it. Yes, we
Yeah.
The first part.
Your first attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
right.
then now we've gone up the Alaska Highway. So
Yes.
that was the end of your first 8 years?
No,
No.
No? Oh,
This is half.
Oh, we're only halfway still.
Exactly halfway.
Okay.
78.
Where are we
Wann noch
going next?
78 oder 79? Wann waren das, als wir die Mutti da waren?
80.
80, okay. Okay,
Moment,
that was
moment,
just
moment.
German.
We did another short trip on the Churchill, and 1980
And
we did some
1979, I almost drowned.
yeah.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, we went there last year again, Sandy Bay.
Yeah, I didn't drown last year almost. It was at the time,
Yeah.
79.
We
79.
We asked, it was correct. We were talking about 78. The next year, we wanted to go all the way to Churchill Hudson Bay, and we started much earlier. La Loche, was it La Loche?
Yeah.
No, La Loche,
Breakup?
Saskatchewan. Anyhow, we started. It's a beginning. It's a beginning
Of the church.
much earlier than the first trip.
time.
And we wanted to go all the way to the Hudson's Bay, and we knew, no, it was my parents would come next year. By the
Because-
end of this summer, we came to Inspiration Lake, in Spray Lake, and
Asked them to come.
yes, and
So next year they came.
okay.
So,
So
the-
we, how far did we
you
get?
almost drowned. Let's.
No, this
Yeah,
this
that
is
was
because after Alaska, we went down to Mexico. We spent the whole half year in Mexico.
Mexico.
Okay.
Then we tried again.
And
So
next-
you went from Alaska back down to Mexico again.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I spent Mexico and Guatemala.
Guatemala. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you came back to Canada again.
Mm-hmm.
Just a second. yeah,
Doch,
yeah.
yeah.
Because I was hooked. I was fascinated. And you will see the next years are dominated by rivers.
In Canada.
In Canada and Alaska.
Canada.
Oh,
Canada, Alaska. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we call it. It's all ours anyway.
All Canada.
Yeah. Those guys
Yeah,
got
but
no right
anyways,
to it.
it doesn't matter which year it was actually.
no,
Because-
it's the correct 78. 78.
Immer noch 78? Wann kommt
It
denn
wa-
die Mutti? Das kann nicht sein.
Next year, you,
Okay,
you are
79.
almost drowned. This
79.
78, we did the train
First-
trip.
Yeah.
78. 79, we came back from Mexico, had early summer, but this time we started.
From La
78,
Roche.
we started here and came here into the ice. So this time we started early, but much earlier. It's beginning of the Churchill River, and we wanted to go all the way to Hudson's Bay. And then she went
Close
into,
to Sandy Bay.
in Rapids, northern Saskatchewan.
Yeah. There was a tricky area, and,
Yeah, and-
we wanted to line around.
So after Alaska, we straight drove from Alaska to. I think we can start there. We,
Sure.
Yeah.
We're still
yeah,
going.
Yeah, because all these years and all these
Oh, well,
pictures in my.
after 40 years of traveling, yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
hard to remember sometimes where you were at and what year it was.
What year it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're back on the Churchill River.
Right.
We're coming down.
Came close to Sandy Bay. And there was
No. The first trip, the Churchill River, we went to Alaska, and from Alaska down to Mexico. We
Mexico.
stayed for the next 5-6 months in Mexico and Guatemala. Fascinating. I'm really interested, or we are really interested in these
ruins,
ancient
yeah.
cultures.
The Aztecs and the Mayans. And
Yes,
Yeah.
This was really fascinating, and we felt it was safe. Nowadays, with all the crime, Mexico.
Right.
Also Guatemala
But
is
people
unrest.
say, yeah, Guatemala is not as safe as it used to be. We stayed in Guatemala at Lago de Atitlano. It was a dream. It was wonderful. And after this success, after these wonderful experiences on the Churchill River, we decided the next year, and we are talking now about 1979, start much earlier, right at the beginning. I think it was La Loche, Saskatchewan, and go all the way to Churchill Hudson's Bay. I know it's an adventure. It's a real adventure.
How many miles would that be, or how many kilometers?
By Mackenzie.
I guess but because this is really zigzags. This is not
2000?
is not like the Mackenzie River, 1,860 kilometers, or 1,600 kilometers. It's 6,000. I don't know, 2,500, I guess.
2,500
Yes.
kilometers approximately.
Yes.
Okay.
And unlike the Yukon River, there's always a current. This 50% lakes, and you have to work your way through.
Right.
There's no current, but waterfalls, saloons.
And the Canadian Shield is really nice. It's outwashed stones.
Almost,
Looks
we,
really
we,
pretty.
we love these areas, and few bears only. Few bears was good. As a camper, you don't have too many bears around your
Right.
camp, and but at that summer we have been for many weeks. I can't remember, but many weeks on the Church River. We came to a little town, Sandy Bay. And there are rapids. There used to be rapids, and now the rapids are drowned in the hydroelectric plant.
They're gone, yeah.
Yeah, we have been there last year.
I'm going to have to get you a microphone, I think.
And there were rapids, and usually you have to do it 100 times. Takes all your luggage, and that's a lot, out of the canoe. Takes the canoe and land. I travel with the canoe. Then we portage, go back, and
Get all the stuff.
there are so many portages because very often you have to bypass rapids. You have to bypass waterfalls, beautiful waterfalls. I wouldn't say no one knows them, but very little people know them. This is a 5-star adventure, and we did it just simple. And I always say no Gore-Tex and no super name brands, heavy stuff, army stuff, cheap
Lasting stuff.
lasting stuff. But you have to carry. They're much heavier, but they are durable. So, and we came to this place. We had to portage, but we portaged already twice this day, and we were tired. We said,
And
this is a piece we could line the canoe around. That means we get out. Juliana in the back takes a line, one line with a canoe, and
You in front have a line as well.
I'm in front, and kick with your paddle the canoe so it doesn't get too close to the rocks, and so you navigate around the thing. And the thing is, Juliana gave too much line. Here was a current coming, and the current was pressing against the boat, and the boat tipped over, and she didn't.
You have been clever and let go, and I thought, hold it, and went into the rapids.
Yeah.
Oh, it pulled you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The force of the water hitting the canoe drug you into the
Yes.
river?
Correct.
That would have been scary.
I could see it. In rapids, the water is so turbulent. It sucks sometimes big wooden pieces. I've seen it in the Fraser River. The river sucks whole trees
Gives up.
down. And she was sucked for a moment, but then she was
Shooting out again.
shooting
and
out.
I felt it.
And I called her. I put all my
Clothes off.
ran past the rapids, jumped into the water, but she managed to get out.
But you
And-
pulled me out because on this washed Canadian Shield, I never could have got out because I would slide back again. So he pulled me out, and then he asked me, "Are you okay?" and left me because he wanted to get the boat.
The boat and your
Yes,
provisions,
I
right?
jumped.
Yeah.
I jumped in the river.
You would have been in a lot of trouble without the canoe and provisions.
Yes.
So
It was
okay,
upside
now
down.
I understand.
The canoe
yes.
was upside down.
But I had
upside down.
But it had a cover. I had sewed a cover for this, so it was put on.
So
like
all the
in a
supplies
kayak.
managed to be
So
held inside the
Yes.
canoe while you had it
almost-
overturned.
Yeah, but
Right.
almost everything was in the canoe.
In the canoe. But the thing is, after the rapids, the water is turbulent, and you could see the channel. The right channel was going towards Sandy Bay, this little community, and the left channel was going goodbye
To
towards Hudson's Bay. And the canoe decided to go towards Hudson's Bay. And I was swimming, And finally, I'm a relatively good swimmer, strong swimmer at that time, and
So
but
you came
it was
out.
very, very hard coming back.
But we,
And there was a little island in the middle of this turbulent water, and there were 4 crosses. And later on, we heard
And a broken boat.
and a broken boat, a damaged boat, 4 Indian guys, First Nations,
4 brothers
Brothers.
had drowned there.
around there.
Oh,
But we
At the
forgot to
same
say, we came to this place and there was a house up there, and we went up to this house and there was a sign, gun fishing. Okay, so
it was part of the beginning hydro plant, hydro plant. You know, the water management area. They had this. They had this dam. We had to it was. Yes, we bypassed the dam the day before or the hours before.
Okay. So
And-
we went up to this house. I was okay so far. So we went up to this building and there was a gun fishing. And there was a car, and the window was open and we hung the horn. And so the guy came and we said, okay, our boat is there. Can you call somebody? And before he started to call somebody called him and said, okay, we found a boat. The people must be dead.
they found your boat.
Yeah, they saw our boat. It
Yeah.
was still on the
Floating
river.
on upside down. So that's why they thought, okay, the people must be dead. No,
And
they are standing here right beside
some
me.
friendly
Can
people.
we get the boat? So they came with the boat, took us and the boat into Sandy Bay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So people came and said, okay, you can stay with us, dry all your stuff.
And this year, you know, it took longer than we expected. And this year we said, no, we stop here, and we managed to go back. We have been on the road, so we didn't make it all the way to Hudson Bay as we had planned. But we wanted to travel, and we traveled again to Alaska, and the winter we flew to the Philippines.
So after the Juliana almost drowning, you got your provisions to Sandy
Sandy Bay.
Sandy Bay.
And we
and
kept
that-
on traveling.
and-
Oh, did you
kept
keep
on-
going down the river, or
yeah.
did,
Yeah, we
oh.
kept on the river.
how much longer did you go,
Na
travel
sicher,
down the
klar, du
river?
hast gesagt, ein Reiter, der vom Pferd fällt, dafür immer hört.
Ja.
Natürlich, wir waren weiter, aber wohin? But how far?
No, maybe it's a long time ago. But I think we managed a ride from Sandy Bay because there are not very many options, because this is the pure wilderness, and you are lucky if the river touches the road or a road touches the river, and then you need to find someone who is willing to take you several hundred kilometers. And
With all the stuff.
we
Nee, wir sind weiter.
we found a very friendly family we visited later on, and they made a big detour and they brought us back. And the rest of the summer we went to Spray Lake, we went to Alberta and BC and enjoyed the Rockies. And in the wintertime we flew to the Philippines, because, you know, the first time being on the Philippines, it's one of our favorite countries in the world. 7,000 Inseln, I would say, islands. Islands, we say Inseln. But during this winter stay in in the Philippines, I made plans for
Mackenzie.
the next summer, and I knew I'd do the big thing. We do the big thing. We planned to go on the western side of Canada and paddle 3,200 kilometers, starting at the Clearwater River, going on the voyageur trails, you know, the old fur traders. they had two waterways, the Churchill River. So we had done a good part of the Churchill River, and the other system is the Mackenzie River system. And what this two river system divides is a portage, the longest portage in Canada, 21 kilometers. It's the Matthew Portage. And it was discovered by a fur trader named Peter Pond, and Alexander Mackenzie followed this fur trader, Peter Pond. So we made this 21 kilometer portage. I carried the canoe on my back. Juliana carried the luggage, and through the wilderness came to the Clearwater River. The Clearwater River empties into the Athabasca River. We are bypassing Fort McMurray, coming into the Lake Athabasca. We came out at Slave River, then Great Slave Lake, and finally 1,600 kilometers Mackenzie River. Altogether 3,200 kilometers, 88 days non-stop on the rivers.
Do we have that picture? That was the one that. See if we can get that up on the screen. Just take us a minute. Sorry?
Do you know what it says?
No, but you can just look at the media screen to get the picture.
I went to media screen before and I couldn't get back. I couldn't get any pictures.
Okay, just pause for a second.
Business card, you would say. We are using this. We have this on our business card. And to the end of my life, if you would ask me for my address or telephone number, I would pass you this
This photograph here?
this
Yeah,
photograph.
that is our-
I'm using this since 30 years because a magazine in Germany did a story about one of our adventures, and they printed stuff. And I said, you print so much. I need kind of busy before everyone made his own business card. It was at least 35 years ago, and they made us thousands of business cards, and I'm till the end of my life I have
It
this
won't
business
change.
card.
No.
How far how far through your first 8 years are we here now?
Okay.
Not trying to rush you or anything. It's just
Waren wir jetzt bei 79?
Nee,
79,
1980. 1980. Also Vati und Mutti sind da gekommen. Genau. Und dann sind wir im Winter Südamerika. Haben wir im Winter Südamerika gemacht. Genau.
erst?
Genau. Oh, sorry, was easier. German.
In German.
Because
So we came to
But-
Inuvik in August, and we had
So-
snow on our tent.
we paddled almost every day for 88 days non-stop. The only bad thing that happened in the rapids, Five-Finger
Oh
Rapids.
Gott, ja. Nee, nicht Five Finger. also
and this is on the
This
is on the Athabasca River.
No,
Where
no,
that
one
picture
in-
was taken.
That
the-
was the other basket.
this was Lake Athabasca.
Okay.
Again, even a picture. I could tell you another story. We came to this place I've shown you. There were two other people. Two other people sitting and having their meal. One was Verlon Kruger out of Lansing, Michigan. We heard, he's unmatched. He has done canoe trips. He was a World War II fighter, in World War II.
and then he
in
was a
Europe.
plumber.
And then he was a plumber, and then he started canoeing, and you probably didn't.
He canoed
you
till
don't
his
find
end.
find anyone else who did that extreme canoe trips like Vernon Kruger. We met him at this place, and while we were talking, he had a partner. This partner came to join him for a short time. He was kayaking, canoeing. He had a Kevlar canoe for me. The first time I saw a Kevlar canoe, something really special. And for a short time, he had a partner. He said, but there is a third person. I said, where's the third person? come out, he said. This is a crazy Swiss guy. He's always playing his flute. And there came this Swiss guy. And I asked him in German, could you show me your flute? You know, he came out with a 4-meter long Alp horn. And
4-meter long
typical
which?
Alp horn, like Alp.
Oh, like in the Swiss Alps,
like
the big
Swiss
horn.
Alps,
yes,
they-
genau.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But this was a collapsible, probably they are.
in 4 pieces.
In 4
So he had
pieces,
it in the
4
canoe.
meters long. So, and he traveled just by himself. And that happened at this place where this picture of one of them was taken. And the next day we split, and everyone
Went his own
traveled
speed.
his own space. Verlin was much quicker than me. He was a real special person. We heard in Lansing, Michigan, is a statue
For
built
him.
for him because he did such
The
unbelievable
Grand Canyon
canoe.
upstream and
upstream.
stuff like
They
this.
said he did the Grand Canyon upstream. Whatever, this is really special. And so after this great moment, we came through Slave Lake. Later on, Great Slave
Great
Lake,
Slave Lake.
and then the last 1,600 kilometers, Mackenzie River, and we came by the end of August.
With snow on our tent when we woke up in the morning.
Yes, yeah,
In August.
In August.
in August. And within 2 days, we managed to sell at Inuvik, at the end of the river. We sold our canoe for more than we
Had bought it.
had bought it, more than the $130 we paid some years before. And within a few hours, two
Yeah,
truck
two trucks,
drivers, with
real big
really
trucks.
50-ton truck max, and one canvas truck.
So we both had
we
one
both-
driver and we
one
have been
truck,
sitting
and
beside.
we
So
were
you're 2 different trucks?
Yes.
two different trucks. We were traveling, but in convoy behind each other.
Yeah. So we
down
didn't get lost.
all the way down the Dempster,
Dempster
Highway,
Highway.
which was new at that time, down all the way to Whitehorse, and from Whitehorse we got another lift back, which was a kind of world trip back to the beginning of our journey in Saskatchewan, where we left our blue VW van. So, and this winter, which followed the adventure, we said, let's do something absolutely new. We went back to San Francisco, left our car, our VW van in California, and we managed to get
To transfer a car.
to transfer a car. The owner was from Florida, and he has traveled with his car to San Francisco, flew back, and there was an organization. They are specialized to send the car back. So they are
They look
always
for drivers.
looking for drivers. I found a short ad, and I said, why not? So we had one of these. We are talking about 1979. One of these giant Cutlass Supreme. American cars. This was a real adventure. So we had to be careful because it was a quite expensive car, but it was a wonderful feeling, and it's another experience in our life. So, and from Florida, we flew down to Quito, Ecuador with 2 backpacks, and we traveled for 6 months around
South America.
South America.
My God, you guys have been everywhere.
Yes.
Almost.
In the meantime, my parents had visited us, and you
Yeah,
know,
in Canada.
we had our reunion.
Yeah,
in
everything was okay.
BC at Spray Lake. BC, I would say, Spray Lake is Alberta, anyhow, close to BC, and we had a great time with my parents. And later on, then Juliana decided finally, after we did another Alaska trip, and she decided she wants to go back to Germany. I wanted to live in Canada, settle down here. With her job, we would have easily got a permit to live here as residents. She's kindergarten teacher, kindergarten supervisor. with my job would not really
German
be easy.
lawyer, no.
German lawyer in Canada, no, forget it. And but finally, she decided to go back home, and she said, "Oh, all my friends, all my relatives, your
All my
parents."
leftover family.
Well, you've
Yes.
been away for 8 years
Yeah,
at this
no,
point.
no,
No, at that time,
it
at
was
7 years.
7.5 years. So I
Close enough.
Close
I
enough.
followed her back to Germany. We came to San Francisco, left our
VW bus.
VW bus. We sold our VW bus back to
Back
Wolf.
to Wolf.
You know where
The
we
guy you bought it
this,
from,
yes.
built the engine
Yes.
for you, let
Yes.
you live in his house for
Yes.
6 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then we flew to Germany. For me, it was a test. Could I live after almost 7.5 years in Germany? She got the job within 14 days. You know, teachers, kindergarten teachers are.
At that time. I mean,
they
it changes all the time.
But even now, you know,
Yeah,
if
but
if
I've
you are
been
good in
lucky,
your
so-
business, you get easy a job. For me, it was very difficult. I didn't want to knock at government's door where I was employed before in 75, before we left. And I felt that this was not the end of this journey. So I managed to get a collapsible kayak, a clapper. Maybe you have heard this. It's a German brand.
Foldable,
This is kind of unique.
wooden frame.
It's like the Eskimos have a wooden frame outside a shell, very durable. And I flew with this collapsible kayak to San Francisco, back to Wolf. And I said, Wolf, unfortunately,
I need my van back.
He had sold.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, within yes, it was a good van. But I bought a Audi,
Audi
Mm-hmm.
100.
an old one, but
Oh, we're done.
other adventures which will come.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so
go ahead.
so we arrived Germany after 7.5 months. Juliana got a job within days. You
14 days.
Yes, yeah, 14 days.
And we had
So-
Christmas. Christmas in
And-
Germany.
Yes, and the thing is, we didn't have very much money. You know, we lived just from our
Savings.
for more than 7.5 years, but I felt this isn't the end. I wanted to go back into the wilderness, and wilderness means, you know, the wilderness of Canada or the wilderness of Alaska, doing canoe trips. And I got a clapper. It's a foldable kayak. It's people know these clappers. They are really unique, like the Eskimo boats, very durable. And I flew back to my friend Wolf in San Francisco, bought a car and went just by myself all the way up to the beginning of the Yukon. In the same summer, I kayaked the Yukon River from the source to the Bering, you know, past the Chilkoot Pass to the Bering
That would have been
Sea.
1984.
No, 80.
Or is that that's when you wrote the book Yukon Adventure? Was it 1984?
later.
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
the
Yeah.
books you write later.
Yeah,
Right.
83.
83. 83.
Well, I don't know. GPT chat says it was in 1984.
The book, yes.
That may be.
The
book
trip
is-
was in 83.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
So, but this is not the end. You know, I reached the Bering Sea, and I kayaked back 100 kilometers or so, and there is a little town, St. Michael's, St. Mary's, and the town mayor, town manager of St. Mary's, the kind of mayor, he bought my kayak. I got a flight out back to Fairbanks, hitchhiked
No, you hitchhiked.
hitchhiked back to Canada because I started this Yukon trip in Canada, came back to my car. You know, I don't never forget, I had a shotgun with me. This was just by myself. And there was no partner to scare the bears away. I never used this.
You
I
could
never-
have talked to him.
Yeah, yes, bear go, yes. And I was sitting. There's a picture. I had made a sign and wrote $50 to Whitehorse. And I was hitchhiking because I realized after a while no one is
Stop
picking me up. So I thought make it a little bit more attractive. So
You were going to give somebody $50
Yeah.
yes,
to
Yeah.
pick you up. Okay,
Yeah,
that
but-
was your sign.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
and
that's okay,
finally
that's fair.
it was an American. He just drove the whole night, all the way past Whitehorse back to
But
my.
you could get out in Whitehorse.
Yeah, no, back to my car,
Uh-huh.
back to my car, and then it wasn't the end. I had the idea. There is one road in Canada. Most Canadians never heard about it, but we went there when Bettina, or
Thought I was a baby.
she wasn't. Sorry, she wasn't born at that time. No.
so.
There is a road called Canal Road. Have you heard about the Canal Road?
No, I have not.
Canal Road was built 1944-45, and Canal stands for Canadian oil. Fort Wrigley at the Mackenzie is a oil-rich place, and they needed oil for planes during the war in Alaska against the Japanese, and they built within months a road and a pipeline.
From Canada to Alaska.
Exactly. And this, you could Google it, it's a can oil was the beginning,
Yeah.
later canal. And it's still Canal Road. You find canal in the milepost. It's a fascinating road. And I drove past Ross River. This was new country for me, and I didn't know what to expect. And finally, I have to. It's a historical thing. I didn't finish that. Suddenly, 1945 was the end of. They finished the pipeline, but the war finished in May 1945. So it was useless. They took the pipeline because this was metal, but left hundreds of trucks in the wilderness. Go up there; they are still there. This is
And that's Canal Road.
canal
Canal
oil.
Oil.
Can oil.
Canal
No,
Road.
it's
Yeah.
without I. It's
Can oil.
Canol. Canal Road. The good thing, in many ways, the good thing, you can drive to a certain point, but from there on, you have to walk. And that's what I did at that time. I had a backpack, 35 kilos, plus my shotgun. And I walked, and in the middle of the nowhere, there was a lodge. And he was, what was it, doctor or Sam Miller, yes. And I stayed at his lodge. Sometimes, it was his he kind of drop out. He probably has enough money, but you can't drive there anymore. The bridges are broken in,
So
and
did he
it became
fly in?
what?
Go ahead. She wanted to know if he flew in.
Okay, yes, his guests coming by plane,
Right.
or this is really remote area. So I had a nice couple of days with him, and from there on, it's many rivers, very dangerous. I have been a little bit kind of stupid, or no, I don't know. I needed this time as the end of these 8 years to know where I belong to Juliana. And I walked for weeks on the
By yourself?
by myself. Well, in the middle of caribou herds, wild caribou, and I heard their ankles. Have you gone with caribous? Knack,
No.
knack, knack, knack. You listen to the ankles, how they go, It's funny feeling. And they were 3, 4, 5 meters. It was just great. And after this adventure, I went back to my car. I wanted to go further, but I came to the point that I said, okay, stop this here and go back, drive back to San Francisco, fly back home, go back to Juliana. And
So the last part of this, you walked on this road that was an ex-oil road with hundreds of trucks, and you walked for 2 weeks.
yeah, more than 2 weeks. It was just a trail crossing rivers. It was dangerous. It
Okay,
was
so
dangerous.
2 plus 3 weeks or whatever it is,
Yeah,
just to find yourself.
yes.
And you found yourself out in the middle of
Nowhere.
nowhere in the Yukon, or is this is Alaska?
No, this is the Yukon.
Yukon.
Yeah.
Traveled, walked for 3 weeks, camping, surviving on your own with the caribou to find yourself, stopped and went,
Yeah.
it's time to go home
And
to
4
Juliana.
years later, we had our daughter and started the next trip around the world.
I cannot. I wish we had more time to go through more of this. I do want to mention some things for people who are listening. If you'd like to get any of Dieter's books, for Dieter and Juliana's 45 years of traveling, whatever it is, you can find them on Dieter.
Dieter.
Yeah,
And the
Kreutzkamp.
family name is Kreutzkamp. Kreuz means cross. Kreutzkamp.
I will have a link below for anybody who wants to get them. The books are such as Yukon Adventure, Australian
Yeah,
Adventure.
but they are in German.
Yeah, it's in German. This has been translated. So, Canada Wilderness Adventure, Through Wild Canada, Trans-America Adventure. You're oh boy, with the motorhome through Europe,
And the last book, recent book,
Overlander.
is about the Volkswagen buses, the T1, T2, and
History.
all the crazy, wonderful people who love these cars and pay a lot of money nowadays. And we use them just as working horses.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of books for you guys to read. Be a lot of stuff, and I hope that we can get you guys back because you're flying back to Germany in 2 days, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you will be back
Next year.
Next year.
Next summer.
So I hope we can get together and get the next
Part of
10 or 15 years. This is like you've been all over the world, correct? Can you just name the countries you've been into?
No, it's too much.
Too many?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 130, 140. But it was never our aim. Just, some
To tick.
people is to make a tick on everything.
Right.
This is not our thing. It would have been easy. And we know a person who has done almost like
countries.
Cayman. We
never have been.
they just want to tick. It's nice.
They just want to get it off their bucket
I'm also
list,
crazy,
right?
so it's crazy. But it's okay.
Just a different kind of
it's-
crazy.
Well,
Craziness. We
quite,
have been
quite
in
frankly,
130 or
there's
something like
people that are
countries.
going to be listening to this going, my God, we have not lived. These two people have lived their entire life. I'm sure that you've gone without things, but what you've gained far exceeds what most people will ever get in their entire life. The memories that you two have produced together and the stories your grandchildren are going to get to hear, absolutely 100 amazing. I would, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing this with us tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And I
enjoyed it.
really want to talk to you guys again.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Next year.
Thank
Next
you.
year. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That was awesome.